All right. We're here with Pigskin Preview Season 2. I'm here with Raul, co-founder of Jet Sports Network, and Javier Morales, co-owner of All Sports Tucson. Guys, how are we feeling today?
Feeling great, man.
Great, thank you.
Season two, back doing it again with Mr. Morales, and you're the newbie now.
Trying to fill in the shoes of a good Raul from last year, so we'll see how it goes for this this week going in. So we're going to be looking at the 5 games coming up between tomorrow and Friday. It's going to be the games of the week. The first game that we're going to be looking at is Wilcox versus Palo Verde. Uh, the Wilcox Cowboys come with a winning record of 10-3 from last year, 2025, and Palo Verde lost to them last year 49-0, but still finished 6-4 with a winning record since 2009. So I guys want to ask you guys, how different do you expect this game to be compared to last year?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it, Mr.
I
Morales.
don't think. I don't think it's going to be. Sadly for Paul Verde, I don't think it's going to be much different because it's at Wilcox. Wilcox still has a lot of good players coming back from that team that came six. They talk about it, they came 6 inches from the goal line in the semifinal game and they lost. So that's been eating at them all off season. They still have guys like um, Caleb Cook, who rushed for more than 1,500 yards, and he had like 102 tackles as a linebacker. So they have a really good nucleus around him. So I think there at Wilcox season opener, that Wilcox always sells out, or they pack their stadium, the whole city comes out. It's going to be tough for Paulo Verde to go over there and start off on the right foot. I hope they make it competitive, but I could see the score being pretty much the same.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Mr. Morales. I really think the Wilcox Cowboys will dominate on Friday. That's our game of the week, so we'll actually be there and feel that atmosphere, that community. Hopefully, a sold out crowd. But I really think Cook is just way too much for the PV defense, and I think it's going to be a beatdown. If I'm being honest, not to be negative or anything like that, I think the Cowboys are going to have their first victory on Friday, and I think they're going to go into week 2 with a lot of motivation and a lot of hype around them.
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing. Caleb Cook with over 1,500 rushing yards. I believe that they have the dominant edge in this game, but I have to ask for the other devil's advocate. What is Palo Verde's biggest X factor going into this game, even going on with a tough team like the Cowboys?
Paulo Verde has some good players coming back too. You know, Camayo Ortiz, he's a lineman. He plays on both sides. Heck of an athlete, really good basketball player. He's just hard to stop coming off the edge, and he's also strong too. So he's going to be tough to deal with on the line. Um, I think they have Gus Rungart back. He had a great year as a secondary in the secondary there for Paulo Verde. They just, as the case is with like the Paulo Verdes, the Catalina, San Ritas, the numbers game. Like if a player happens to get hurt, who do they have to come in, or gets tired, or if they have to make some changes? That's where like in the third and fourth quarter where it comes into play. So that's why I said before I would like to see them being competitive. That means that they do not have much of a numbers crunch like they usually do, and it could be where they're maybe getting more and more over the hump of that.
I think the simple factor is Ortiz has to stop Cook. Cook, if he's going, there's really no chance. I hate to say it because he's one of the best players, not only in Wilcox in Southern Arizona. 1,500 yards says a lot. So the main X factor is Ortiz needs to stop Cook to get the job done. But like anything, like how we talked about this before, at the end of the day, as long as they compete and show that they have a chance, I think that's going to benefit them going into week 2 with some more motivation. And as long as it's better than what it was last year, I still think that's a small win.
Right. Don't forget about Demarion Jackson too with Wilcox. He transferred from Pueblo. He's got great size, like 6'4", 180. He's going to play somewhere after this year in college. Great athlete. Had 4 interceptions last year as a safety. Over 400 or close to 500 yards receiving. And Wilcox is predominantly a run game, and he was able to get 400 to 500 yards receiving. So he could be the X factor for Wilcox.
Definitely.
We got a lot of prospects to look at for these two teams, and a star player at Wilcox on Friday. And speaking of another game on Friday is Sabino versus Valley Christian. Uh, the Valley Christian Trojans last year finished 11-2, and they made it to the 3A semifinals, and they're facing the Sabino SaberCats. The record last year was 4-7, but do you think this Sabino team can go on to make it a challenge for an 11-2 team this game?
Yeah, especially at home, and they have Bodie Sanford, who's now its junior, and he's really grown a lot the last, figuratively and literally. He's like at 6'3", 6'4", close to 200. So he's going to be harder for defensive players to bring down, and he's got great vision, great arm strength. He just has to be able to control his accuracy a little bit better, and I think he said that he had been working on that to get the interceptions down and the touchdown passes up. But his leadership will be huge, and that's something that Ryan McBrayer, the head coach, is used to at the quarterback position, as somebody who's a leader, and he definitely will be that. After Cam Hackworth, after AJ Skaggs, he's the next in line to have these monster numbers. He's only a junior.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. Their quarterback is a year older, a year more of experience. That's going to play a lot. He was a little sophomore last year. Wasn't little, taller than me, like everyone is, sadly.
Yeah.
But, he's a leader now, and I think that's going to play a lot. And just how you talked about it, as long as he controls the passing game, controls the defense, I think it's going to be a lot better of outcome than what people think. And Sabino might surprise some people this year. They have a really good coach who has a lot of confidence in them. The team was really confident after we talked to them on the media day Saturday. So I think this could be a surprise. This could be a dark horse matchup right here with Sabino on top.
And we have good coaches and good leadership from both sides as well coming into this game. I got to ask you guys, who do you think has more pressure lining up in this matchup coming up?
I don't know if Brian McBrayer has pressure really, because he's coming off of two kind of average years that they're not used to. So I think it's more of like building up. They're going to stick with McBrayer no matter what, because he's an alum. He won a state championship. Even though they have struggled the last 2 years, they still made the playoffs last year. I think I think this is a game that they've been looking forward to all offseason, really. Valley Christian's perennially a power in the 3A, and I think it's going to be a really good measuring stick for McBrayer on how this year's senior crop is going to be good. The seniors on this year's team were freshmen when they won the state championship, so they have that experience. They know what it takes, and I think that alleviates a lot of the pressure on McBrayer when you have these senior leaders who've been through it all, really.
I mean, I don't think there's much pressure on Sabino because, as Mr. Morales said, they haven't come off the best seasons. However, I think there's a little pressure to make sure the season gets started off right. And as we said before, these kids have been to the top before and they know what it's like to win. So I think they'll probably use that experience to eventually, hopefully, turn around the last 2 years and start off this year with a positive note. The other team has been in a further playoff run than Sabino. So anytime you get into that semifinals, there's always pressure to game one to show that it wasn't a fluke being there in the first place.
Yeah, so we'll see which team comes with the outcome. And speaking of an underdog versus one person who has the favorite, is the next game is going to be Pima versus Scottsdale Christian. Both have winning records, Pima being 7-5, and they finished around the top 10 last year, but they're facing on the 2A state champions from last year, Scottsdale Christian Eagles. And they get their first assignment for Pima, the champions, in week 1. How tough do you think this assignment is for the Rough Riders?
Pima year in and year out is very competitive. Is that game going to be at home or at Scottsdale Christian?
I believe.
I could look it up. I think that Pima has established themselves as one of those Eastern Arizona powers. All the kids have grown up with each other. It's kind of like Wilcox, close knit community. They all grow up and play youth football together. And I think that really helps out a lot. Scottsdale Christian, they could have been challenged by some of the 2A teams in Southern Arizona, like Tanca Verde, Wilcox. I think that this will be a tough assignment for them, even if it's home or away against Pima, because I just like the way Pima plays year in and year out.
Mr. Morales, Pima is at home. Are you saying that we could witness one of the biggest upsets probably this entire year?
Yes, we can, because Scottsdale Christian has to go to Pima, which is a remote area in the eastern Arizona. They're coming from Scottsdale, where it's a big open area. Pima's tough, especially their small community. Year in and year out, they're really good. They did beat Pima 33-6 last year at Scottsdale Christian, so that also plays into it with Pima having like they want to avenge that. They're playing the defending champion, so Pima was good last year. They finished 7-5. They went in the playoffs. Went deep in the playoffs. They went into the semifinal round, I believe. So that's a good team. So yes, I'll say there will be an upset there at Pima.
So even
Go for it.
go
Go
ahead,
for
Carl.
it. I say Pima has a great chance. Everything you just said, Pima being a semifinals team and being at home and having that motivation against going the defending state champions, I think the team's going to be ready, and I think they might be pulling off one of the biggest upsets of the year.
It's good to hear talking more about upsets. But if they get this done, what does this tell us about Southern Arizona 2A football if this upset does happen?
That it's traditionally strong. I mean, you look at some of the teams that come out of the 2A and 3A. 2A, like more local, you have like the Wilcox, the Tancaverdes, teams like that year in and year out are very good. Santa Cruz is also 2A, and they play down here now, Eloy Santa Cruz. So a lot of good teams in this part of the state from 2A.
I think this really says one thing. Southern Arizona football is really good. And we're really good at all the sports too. And that's what people need to realize. They got to stop looking down at Southern Arizona sports because it's in a small town, in small towns. At the end of the day, we have a state champion, Micah Mountain. They're going for a three-peat. It doesn't matter what happens with this game. The main thing is that people need to realize that we have competitors every single year. And we've had a state champion the past 2 years. The year before that, we had two state champions. So at the end of the day, people need to realize Southern Arizona football and Southern Arizona sports compete with Phoenix. No matter what sport it is, we always compete. Just look at wrestling. We got two out of the four state champions. Softball, 4 out of 6.
And it just to talk about football last year, look at all the classifications that Southern Arizona fared last year. South Point 6A went deep into the playoffs. Desert U 5A went a couple rounds into the playoffs, was undefeated, set a lot of school records. 4A, you got Micah Mountain, like you said. 3A, you got the Push Ridges, you got the Sabinos, Thatcher. You got those. They're the last three state champions from this area. 2A, like we talked about earlier, you got Tancaverdi, who could have went to the championship game a couple times, just things didn't bounce their way in the playoffs the last 2 or 3 years. You got Wilcox, who's good every year. Benson and Bisbee are usually competitive. And then 1A, you got St. David, who always challenges for the state championship. So yeah, if you look at every class, there is a really good Southern Arizona team. Now, what we need is more Southern Arizona teams to join that group to make it even better.
And one team I want to mention in there is Marana Tigers as well.
Yeah, 5A Marana. They need to get over that hump, though. They won 10 games 3 of the last 4 years, haven't gone past the second round, so they need to get that. They need to get that going. They can. I mean, unfortunate situations that off the field developments here before the season, but they still have a lot of talent.
From what everyone said, they use that as motivation, and team with motivated. They're already motivated before, but with everything that's happened the past few weeks, hey, they're saying that this might be the year.
Could be motivation, spiritual too, right?
Yeah.
With Sean Roebuck Jr. out, but he's going to be there on the sidelines. He's going to be there at practices sometimes. He's able to get around. He just will not be able to play because of the broken jaw and eye socket and ribs and stuff like that. But he'll be there.
Yeah, prayers out to Sean. Hoping for a quick recovery.
Of course, prayers out to Sean Roebuck and their family. And I kind of want to pivot to the matches we were talking about between Tucson, Southern Arizona, and Phoenix teams. The next matchup that's going to happen is actually Tanque Verde, like you said, Javier, versus Phoenix Christian. The Cougars had a winning record of 11-3 last year, and they actually made it to the 2A semifinals. And they're going against the Phoenix Christian Cougars, who also had a winning record of 8-3. And
Right.
Phoenix Christian actually beat them 47-7 last year. And I want to ask you, Javier, and you, Raul, as well. Was that just a bad night for Tanque Verde? Because they were really prominent contenders for that 2A championship. So I wanted to ask you more about that.
Well, you got to remember that was the first game of the year, right, for Tanque Verde.
Yes, sir.
They, they've been playing. I think this is the third or fourth time they're playing Phoenix Christian in the season opener in the last 4 years. So they have
Yes,
kind of
sir.
like a series going. Um, but under Jeff Bull now, it seems like Tanque Verde might start a little slow, but by the end of the year, they're right there in the thick of it. So this could be another type of year like that where they lose some good players. They lost Rocco Haggard, who was just a dynamic quarterback and safety. And they lost some other seniors. They had like a stable of running backs that most of them have graduated. But they have to go to Phoenix Christian. So the first game, especially, it's different traveling across town. But when you have to travel up the road to Phoenix with a lot of guys who maybe haven't played before or started, that's a tough one against a good team. So even though they might lose again to Phoenix Christian, they'll still be in the thick of it by the end of the year.
Yeah, same thing. Anytime you lose that bad, yes, it's a bad night, but it's the beginning of the season. You have guys that, as Mr. Morales said, so maybe they've never even touched a varsity field before, and it's dealing with those nerves, especially having to travel. Those are the factors people don't really realize plays a huge in whether a team wins or loses. I think the main thing is just show that you can compete, show that you've gotten better than what happened last year, and if you avoid having an outcome like you did last year, all the motivation's going in week 2. And as we said before, they're going to be there at the end of the year no matter what. Even if they start slow, by the end of it, we'll be mentioning them in a playoff run.
I agree. Looking at these stats, I feel like we're going to be talking about them even in the next week's coming. But I got to say, what do you think is the key qualifying factor for one team or each of the teams going into this week one?
Well, I know a lot more about Tanque Verde, so I think it's just going to be okay. Well, Jeffrey Bull now will most likely want to see what players will step up, who he can count on for the rest of the season. It's not a region game; it's really early. There's a lot of games after this, so it's almost like I wouldn't say a preseason exhibition game, but it'll have that kind of a meaning of trying to see where they're at and get a lot of teaching points. They have some guys in the defense that are back, like Nathan Hallam's a defensive back who's really good. And then on the line they have Colton Roberts. He's a senior. Those are a couple of seniors that they're going to rely on a lot. So I think this is you don't want to put too much weight on this game because it's a first game. It's on the road. They're playing a really good team. If Jeffrey Bolnow's team goes in there and keeps it close to the fourth quarter, that's almost like a win. So that's what he's probably looking for.
I think the main thing, Alex Page needs to lead that defense. He led the team with 6 sacks last year, and if he's able to have a great performance on defense, hold them down, hold the offense down from scoring a lot, that might play a huge factor in a possible upset. Mr. Morales said it perfect. As long as they stay and compete, stay in the game till the fourth quarter, that's a win because they had, like we said before, didn't have the greatest of nights last year in the home opener. But this year, if they're able to compete, show that they improved from what they did last year, who knows what happens if they play again in the playoffs. It's week 1, trying to figure out who's your players, who the guys that are going to be there the entire year. And once you get to that playoffs, you're established, you know what's going to happen. So they got to look at it just like this. It's just game 1. One game that doesn't define a whole season.
It's good to hear. Who knows what could happen in the next coming weeks? And actually, for the last game that we're talking about, it's kind of a new situation for one of the teams. We have the Morenci Wildcats versus the Safford Bulldogs, who are actually moving into the 3A division, 3A East division this coming game. The Morenci Wildcats have a winning record of 7-5, but the Safford Bulldogs 2-8. Morenci made the playoffs last year, while Safford had that record. Is Morenci clearly the favorite? Or is there something that we need to talk about the Safford Bulldogs going into this game?
Uh, Again, is that game at Safford or Morenci? Is that on the
It's
road
gonna be at Safford.
at Safford? I think even that, given that, I think it's going to be a tough road to hoe for Safford because Morenci is one of those teams like Pima. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think Morenci is a two-way school, so this is a non-region game, right, or non-conference game because one's 3A, one's 2A. But
Yes, sir.
Morenci is they always have good players. They have a great wrestling program. What does that tell you? They have some tough guys. They have big guys on the line. So and they're close knit because they grew up together. So it's it's going to be tough for Safford because Safford is just they had a new coach last year. They try to get things back because they've had like three coaches in the last 4 years. So they're trying to establish some kind of consistency. This would be an upset, in my opinion, if they beat Morenci. And Safford really, they have to look at around them at their region. They have like Thatcher, Sabino, Pushridge, uh, Coolidge, Florence. So they really got to step it up. They've been good in the past, but in the last, I would say, the last 4 or 5 years, they really have tailed off. So this could be a good indication if they are going to start making their way back and be one of the teams to reckon with, or is it going to be more of the same?
I think that's exactly how you have to look at it. They're finding out who they really are, and I think that's the same thing for both teams. Morenci, they have wrestlers, so I know coming from family wrestlers, I know that means they're pretty tough. And anytime that happens, I think they have a great chance to win the game. Safford's trying to turn around what they've had the past few years, but at the end of the day, I think both teams are going to figure out who they are after this game.
And actually, to close off all these games and this podcast going into here, I kind of want to do a rapid fire of all the games we talked about and what the score predictions are for both of you. So we're going to start off with Mr. Javier Morales. Wilcox versus Palo Verde. What do you think that score is going to be?
Yeah, you're going to get the Palo Verde people mad at me. Um,
Hey, we can't be that hated, dude.
uh, I'll say, what was it, 47-7 last year?
Yeah.
It was
I'm gonna,
49-0.
I was thinking about the other game you said. I'll give Palo Verde 2 touchdowns, so 49-14.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 28-20.
Oh,
20
close
to 20.
one.
Yeah,
A
I'm
little
gonna
bit
keep it close.
closer.
Who
All
knows? Who
right.
knows? I'm gonna give it a close one, but I still think Wilcox is gonna win.
Yeah.
Giving him the benefit of the doubt. All
Yeah,
right.
give
And
him
the
the
next
benefit
game
of the
now is
doubt.
Sabino. Oh, yeah, Sabino versus Valley Christian. What do you think it is? Valley Christian beat them twice, I think, in the last few years. But
Yeah.
hey, who knows what can happen this year? Anything's possible. What do you think you got a score prediction for?
I think it's going to be Sabino 24-18.
Okay.
I'm
I
gonna
think
go.
the Sabino defense will be good enough to hang, and the offense will be better with Sanford 1 year older. So I think they'll be very competitive.
I think Stanford has an incredible first game, and they completely blow them out, 32-7.
Well, there you
All
go.
right.
Yeah,
You
I'm
see, he's
going
been on
out.
the good graces of the Southern Arizona teams.
Say it again.
There we go.
I said you're getting on the good graces of the Southern Arizona teams.
Yeah, that's the point.
I still picked Sabino to win, so I want people to know that.
Okay. We got that on the record. And now the next game is going to be Pima versus Scottsdale Christian against the defending 2A champions. Any score predictions for you guys?
Low scoring game. I'll pick Pima 14-8.
14.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. This is gonna be my prediction. I think it's overtime, 14-14. Pima wins 21-14. I'm gonna go a
Ooh.
close one. Both teams are gonna be trying to prove a point, and you know what happens when
Okay.
two teams want to make a statement? They're gonna play harder than they normally do, especially being the opener. So I think it's gonna be an overtime game, but Pima comes up on top, 27-14 or 21-14.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So this game is the one that you said, Mr. Morales, the 47-7 rematch is the Tanque Verde versus Phoenix Christian. Who you got and what you got?
I really like Jeffrey Bullnow. I took classes with him at Pima, so he knows even if I say they lose, he'll still like me. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. Obviously, I think uh, I would say Phoenix Christian 34-24, around there.
I'm probably gonna get some Southern Arizona people mad, but I'm gonna go 34-14 Phoenix Christian.
Getting a lot of mixed emotions, Raul, with the
Yeah.
Southern Arizona teams. I like it. And now the last game is Morenci versus Safford. This is the playoff team versus the bounce back team. What you guys got?
Uh, Again, apologies to Safford in Southern Arizona, but I just think Morenci is more of an established program. They have their feet on the ground right now than Safford does. I think it's gonna be close. I think it'll be something like 28-24, Morenci.
I'll go Morenci 28-7. I
Okay.
think they're a little too established. When we really look at it on paper, I think they have the better shot. But we'll see what happens. If Safford wins, they can bash me on Instagram if they want to.
We'll see what they talk about next week and in the next coming season, in the next coming games, and we'll talk about it next week as well of what we got for results and for the next team. So
Yeah, real quick,
appreciate you
real
guys
quick. We
being
got
on.
we have a tradition that we've been doing since last year. It's Mr. Morales' pick for the MVP. He actually went four for. I know it was no. He did something
I,
crazy. Like he did like 10 for 12 last year. And
I
then
was
I
good
wanted
at
to,
the first half of the year. I kind of tailed off the second half of the year.
yeah.
Um,
Well, the easy
but
pick was just to pick Jay Lee every year, but every week. But
Okay.
that's right, yeah, I can't do that now.
they can't do that.
Uh,
So who's your pick
but
to
I have
click?
the second best, so or one of the best chances is Caleb Cook at Wilcox. I say
Ooh,
that he rushes for almost 200 yards and has about 12 tackles. So I'm going to go with Caleb Cook.
Caleb Cook. He's gonna be cooking all night.
You should put a limit, like, okay, you pick Caleb Cook, you can only pick him like one more time the whole season. So,
I mean, you did really good changing it up last year. Like you didn't just pick Jay Lee. You mixed it up pretty good.
okay, well, I promise I'll only pick Caleb Cook one more time if I have to the rest of the year.
Got to pick Drake Davis. That's going to be my pick a lot. I think that guy deserved a lot more credit than what he got last year. And
Yes.
this is gonna be like the harsh pick or hot take. I really think Drake Davis is just as good as Jaylee Abraham.
But he's not playing this week. You're talking about just overall,
Yeah,
like
I'm just saying
MVP?
overall, from being around him, we got to do an off script with him. I got to talk to him a little bit, watch him at practice. I think he's gonna have an incredible year and make this be like we'll play this when it's December and people are gonna say call me crazy for it, but when he's having that crazy season next year or in December, we're gonna play this clip again. I'm gonna be like, I told you guys.
I no, I agree with you. I saw a lot of film on him, and he broke a lot of tackles for being a tailback. He's not a he's kind of a muscular, but he's not like a fullback. He looks like a good athlete, and he's hard to bring down. So I think, and he's only a junior, right?
Yeah,
So I
he's a
think by the
junior.
time,
That's what I'm saying. That last year, it was really them two, some of the best players in Southern Arizona. Jay Lee had his year, but I think because of the Jay Lee being in town, he didn't get as much credit as he really deserved. Now Jay Lee being in Phoenix now, I think he's going to be the next Jay Lee this year. Like how last year we talked about, we didn't know exactly who he was. We talked about it week one that this kid might be a superstar. I really think that will be Drake Davis this year. He'll be the superstar that no one saw coming, other than me.
no, I totally agree with you. I don't doubt anything you said about him. He is amazing. He was having a good game against Buena in the playoff game at Sierra Vista. And
Yeah,
then he went down with a broken toe, and then right after that, Mountain View just went downhill. They were being competitive. They could have won that game if he stayed in there, but right after he got hurt, they just fall apart in the second half.
yeah,
So that's another thing. He basically led them to the playoffs last year. So he has to stay healthy.
yeah.
But is that your MVP for the season, or because they're not playing this week?
I
They're
know. I'm
playing
saying
next.
that's gonna be my MVP for the season. I'm calling it week
Oh,
one, week zero. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We went a whole different route with it, but I just wanted to throw that out there so people know that I called it this year. That Drake Davis is gonna be the guy this year. I'm calling it out right now.
well, that's good. I don't know if I have an MVP for the season yet because there's a lot of players to look at, but he's definitely would be one of my top five. But for this week's games, I'm looking at Caleb Cook.
Caleb Cook.
Yeah, against Palo Verde at home.
pretty good shots from both of you as well. So we'll see how in the upcoming weeks how the season goes and how the matchups get resulted in. So appreciate you guys being here, and thank you for having me as the starting host, Raul, veteran
Yeah.
over here, and me getting started. But appreciate you guys having me too as well.
Yeah, next week Jose Vega will be with us. There'll be 4 of us next week. Make sure you guys tune in every Friday morning at 8 o'clock to watch Pigskin preview week 2. Mr.
Awesome. Thank
Morales,
you, guys.
yeah, Mr. Morales, any shout outs?
Let's see. Shout out to the the high school football season coming up, and to the Marana. I want to say something about the Marana football players. They've been through a lot at a young age. This whole last week, they thought they lost their coach. They got their coach back. A few days later, they lost their receiver for the year. We talked to them at the media day the other day at Jet, and they're kind of. I got the feeling they're still kind of emotionally you know kind of affected by the whole thing, and it might not go away. Like you said, it could be a motivational factor. Some of them said they're not going to take anything for granted now, because it kind of woke them up a little bit. They were riding this high of being good a year in and year out. Now it's like, hey, we got to take care of business because you never know what's going to happen. So shout out to them.
Yeah, Jeffrey Smith said that it's been a lot of ups and downs, but for some reason they feel like this is still the year.
Right. What about you? Shout out for you.
What's up?
Do you have a shout out?
Oh yeah, shout out my whole Jet team after the media day on Saturday. Had to throw that in there. All you guys killed it. Mr. Morales, thank you for coming as always. Yeah, shout out my whole team. 17 teams at Jet in one day. I think it was way over 120 athletes. Thank you to all the coaches that came. Thank you for all the players that came. Thank you all for everyone for being there, and thank you the whole Southern Arizona community. I'll say this out there right now. Put this out there because me and Bobby talked about it right after the media day. Because we had a lot of teams ask us, "Hey, where's our invite?" I'm putting it out there right now. Next year we will have a venue, and we will have every Southern Arizona team there that wants to come. Every team's going to be invited. So I'm putting that out there right now. Again, we will have all the teams there next year. I promise that.
Sounds
There we
good.
go.
Yeah. All right, we good?
All right, we're all good.
We're good? All right. Next week, guys. I'm going to stop the recording.